Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel again. Well, here we are at San Diego head office again with our new ATR 72. It's time to see how it flies. Okay, we're going to have a look at the electronic flight bag. I haven't learned how to do a cold and dark startup yet. I will do. I'll have a look at the manual. I'll have a look at some tutorials, real life tutorials and real life pilots flying the ATR. So we'll go slowly and we'll learn to do that actually the correct way and properly. First of all, I'm just going to do it the quick and easy way, get it up and flying and see how it handles. And of course the other important thing, very important thing I haven't mentioned yet, is the view settings. Do you remember how we got the A320, was it? The A330 Airbus that came out with Microsoft, and the default views were all mucked up completely. Because I have all my default views set at different positions in the cockpit, and my 737, I push them, they go to exactly the right place, and it's very hard to change it. I haven't figured out yet. It's not that easy to change the default views. I think I have had no luck with that, so I'm hoping that the default views that come out and set with this plane, the settings that they have made for the default views, I hope they are practically set out so that I can see what I need to see in a moment's notice. So that is one of the most important things to me when it comes to flying this plane, being able to see the controls. So let's go through my view buttons here and see what we have got. I'm pushing the cross on my Xbox controller. That comes down to that display there. Now I have to wait till we get the plane started and we'll actually have a look what that display actually does. So that's the X. May or may not be helpful. Let's push the Y button at the top of my Xbox. That goes to the overhead panel, and that is brilliant because we have to go to this panel a lot when we're doing the startup from cold and dark, turning on and off the lights. So if I hit the Y again, I should go back to the default cockpit. That is good. Okay, now I'm going to hit the the circle, the right hand side button on my Xbox controller. That goes down there. That is brilliant because I've got to look down there a lot. I've got to see my altitude, I've got to see my speed, I've got to see all sorts of details on that. So if I can just hit a button and go straight down there, that default setting for the view is brilliant. Loving that. So we've got a good overhead view, and we've got a good default status view down there. Now I'm going to push the A at the bottom of my Xbox controller. That goes to the electronic flight bag. That is handy because we can do a lot of stuff on the electronic flight bag. All I need to do is maybe zoom in a little bit with the wheel on my mouse, and then I'm all set to go here. So that is good. So I push it again and I'll go back to my default cockpit view. I've got a couple more buttons set for cockpit view, so let's push this one, see what happens. Straight down to the flight the flight yoke quadrant, the control quadrant, flight yoke quadrant. That is good. It seems to be working with my controller, but we're going to have a look at that later, see how that goes. Fuel position there, see how that goes. What is this one? That one goes up there. Okay. Radios, no radios down here. We've got some radios settings there. Okay, so that button goes down to there, the throttle quadrant. Okay, let's see where this one goes. That button goes down to my FMC. Obviously you got to spend a lot of time here when you're doing your FMC, programming your flight plan and all those kind of things. So you need to have a button to go down there. One more button. That's not selected, that's not assigned. Okay, so this is good, guys. This is good. I don't have to muck around in all the settings trying to find the right assignments. everything is set up good with the default ATR 72. That is brilliant. So I can flick the Y button straight up to my overhead. This one, the X, straight down to there. I'll find out what that is later. Hit the A, straight over to the electronic flight bag. Hit the B, straight down there to my status MFD. That is good. The main one I'm going to use is that one, and of course the overhead, and of course this one, the throttle yoke, so I can see the status of my flaps. Flaps button is assigned. That is brilliant. The same as the 737. Come back up here, and I've got that one that takes me straight down to the FMC. That is good. That is good, guys. I don't have to spend hours trying to configure my my view settings, the default view settings. So I'm really happy with that. So far, we're looking good. First thing we're going to do, though, is one of the first things we're going to do. I got to get used to the buttons, eh? I got to get used to where everything is. Okay. First thing we're going to do is we're going to start up the easy way for today, because I haven't studied or read the manual or got into the cold and dark startup. So let's come into aircraft, and we'll hit the ready for taxi button, and my co-pilot will go ahead and get everything started up for us, and we're going to have a listen to the sounds. We're going to see how it sounds, how it feels. The systems are going through their checks. Here we are starting up outside. Let's have a listen. That looks amazing. There we go, they are fired up and running. Do we have flight controls working? No flight controls working. Let's go in here. Let's have a look down here. Maybe that one has to go forward. Okay, all our systems are on. Let's go outside. Oh, yep, we have flight control, so that is all set to our defaults. Nothing to configure there. Let's check our rudder. Our rudder is brilliant. That is perfect. Nothing to do there, guys. They have set up all the default settings and the views just beautifully. Let's see if our flaps go down. Okay, there we go, our flaps are going down. Basically the same controls as the 737, everything else I do. Nothing to change, nothing new to configure. Down go my flaps. Oh, this is good. This is good. Okay, now I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get to fly it today. Not sure if I have enough ability to do that today. Let's come down to our throttle. Where was our throttle quadrant? Here it is. Let's have a look. Fuel, auto, put the fuel on auto. I wonder if the reverse is working. I'm not sure. It seems to go down onto reverse when I flick my throttle right down to the bottom. We've got a brake here somewhere. Idle gate. Pull out, flat push, idle gate. Is that our brake? Is that our handbrake, our wheel brake? Oh, yep. That is our brake. Can flick that up. That is all good. Okay, so I don't have a flight plan or anything in. I just wanted to hear it running. I wanted to see if my settings for the views, interior views, were all set to the default settings are all good. I wanted to make sure that I have flight controls. I've got flight controls all set up, so that is brilliant. The throttle seems to be working. Flaps are down. So let's see if we can get her up in the air. Okay, we are moving. We're moving already. Okay, so let's head over to the runway and see if we can take her up for a bit of a buzz around. If it works and we're all happy and we're all good, then I can start my study, start my research, and get the old brain matter working and start working through the cold and dark startup. Get some lessons for myself all lined up, and we'll start learning how to do the cold and dark startup. Now, oh yep, the lights, let's have a look. Landing lights. Should be some taxi lights here somewhere. Wing lights, strobe lights, signs, seat belts, taxi lights, strobe lights. Better keep an eye on where I'm going, eh? I think this will be manageable, guys. I think my little old brain might be able to actually work this thing out. Is it study level? Well, if I can work it out, I have my doubts. But if I can work... But, you know, shouldn't underestimate myself. Shouldn't put myself down like that. They say it is study level. But like the PMDG 737, you can pretty much get up and fly that. But if you want to do it accurately and do it properly, that's what takes the time and that's what takes the hard work. You've got to do some study and really learn about the systems and things. So it's probably the same with this one. You can get up and fly it, but if you want to do it properly and accurately, then you need to do some study and some research and do some reading and start learning about the systems properly, and then you really start to know how good it is in regards to study level or not. But the reports I've seen so far on it have been really, really positive, so that's a good sign. It looks stunning from the outside, it really does. Look at the frame rate. Listen to those big turboprop engines. Oh, nice. Really nice. This is what we've been waiting for a long time in Microsoft Flight Simulator. The first of its class, really, this ATR. Everyone would love a Dash 8, but that's not going to come for goodness knows how long. I would have loved a Dash 8. I love the Dash 8 and the X-Plane. Would have been nice to have one in Microsoft Flight Simulator, but in lieu of a Dash 8, we've got this lovely ATR. This one is the ATR 72. So let's see if I can get it off the ground without crashing. If I crash, I'll end the video and I'll go back to the drawing board and I'll put myself in for some lessons. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Right, here we go. I have got my flaps down. Throttle's up. Now I haven't done anything properly, I don't think. I've just jumped in and taken off, so I won't be surprised if it doesn't actually work. The frame rates are just beautiful. Oh, and up she comes, nice and gentle. No tail strike, please. No tail strike. Oh, look at that. Bring the wheels up. Bring the gear up. The animation is just stunning. Love the look of those propellers and the sound. That is beautiful. I love it. Give ourselves a little bit of altitude. Hit that button, come down there. I can see the status of the aircraft. Everything is crystal clear. Crystal clear. Right, since we're going so well, I think I'm going to head off to the right and head up the coast to Los Angeles. Shall we give it a go? I'm going to use my trim to get the aircraft stable and level, and we'll just manually fly it because I haven't done a flight plan. But if it's easy to manageable to do manual flight, then you know it's going to be a breeze. It's going to be a breeze to fly. Look at that. Let's come around and head up the coast to Los Angeles. I've flown this route so many times, I do not need a flight plan. I can just about fly it blindfolded. Let's bring up my flaps a little bit. And we'll just follow the coastline up to Los Angeles. And we'll see how we go, eh? See how far we get. It is so smooth and easy to handle. Using the trim, you can just keep it nice and steady and level. That is a beautiful thing. These default view buttons are just working perfectly without any extra sweat or configuration. I'm liking that. Look how clear this display is. 2,900, 3,000 feet, 145 knots. Now this plane is capable. This plane is capable of a cruise speed of 300 knots. Yeah, 300 knots. That's about the same speed as I cruise in the 737-700 and the 800. I cruise at 300 knots. What a great little regional plane. Beautiful little plane. Now the altitude, the maximum altitude is 25,000 feet. $25,000 feet, 300 knots. You can go a long way, guys. Now look how stable it is. I've just used the trim a little bit and it is perfectly smooth and perfectly stable. I'm at 4,000 feet. I'll go a little bit higher and then I'll just use the trim to level off. What a smooth and easy aircraft to fly. Just lovely. Now I'm just going to fly manually. I'm going to use the old style dead reckoning as I head up to Los Angeles. 758 nautical miles. That's the range of this aircraft. 758 nautical miles. Just perfect. Good for little regional flights for Jet and Airways. I'm just over 5,000 feet now. So that is good. I can go up here, turn off my landing lights. Now where were those taxi lights? Seatbelt signs on. Wing lights on. Taxi lights on. I can put the taxi lights off. Landing lights are off. Strobe light can go off. Lovely. One of the main things I like about this plane, it's winning my heart, guys. One, it is so smooth and easy to fly. Just use a little bit of trim. Two, the default views for the different panel situations are all built in to the model. That is lovely. The throttles are working. Everything's working down here. My throttles are working straight off the bat. Some people have had problems, I believe, and had to reconfigure everything. But mine seem to be working okay off the bat. Now I haven't decided which one I will get painted for Jet In Airways yet. I'm going to use the plane a couple of times, do a few flights in it before I even decide to paint it for Jet In. I've got a hangar full of planes that I've painted for Jet In and I hardly ever use them. Little wee puddle jumpers and things like that, but they are not study level. And I think I've got to make a new rule now that I will only paint aircraft for Jet In that are actually study level. So that our experienced pilots will enjoy flying them and want to fly them. If it's too easy and not study level, they don't have any longevity. You fly around with them and then you lose interest. But a couple of planes like this one and the 737, if this indeed is study level, you can just fly them for years and learn something every time you take it up in the air. Okay, flaps up. Let's follow this beautiful coastline up towards San Francisco. Adjust the trim a little bit, keep her nice and level. That's it, not too much, just a little bit. Come down there, I can see that I'm how level I am indeed. A little tweak on the trim, that's all you need to keep her nice and sweet on the horizon there. Keep those little wings on the horizon there. Lovely. Now when probably on the next few videos we'll have a really close look at the electronic flight bag, all the ground services and all the systems and things you can do with that, setting up your fuel and everything. We also need to have a good study and a good look at the FMC. I believe it is quite simple, almost very similar, sort of a cross between the Airbus and the Boeing. It's sort of a mixture of the two. That's the way it is in real life. So it shouldn't be so difficult. We're all used to the 737s, aren't we? So we should be able to get our head around the FMC without too much of a problem. I think the next challenge for me will be the cold and dark startup. I think if we can get on top of the cold and dark startup, get a plan into the FMC, we'll be happy as a pig in mud, I think. And I'll have a play with those later, possibly today or tonight, and make a decision on which one I'm going to get painted, either the 72 or the 42. Let me know in the comments which one you think Jet In should paint, should have. Which one's going to be of more use, the 42 or the 72? Obviously the 72 is longer, takes more passengers. The 42 is, I suppose, it's very close to the actual 737-600. It's just a little wee short stumpy thing. Bit smaller than the 600, I would imagine. Maybe the 72 is a very similar size to the 737-600, but it stops on very small little country runways, little regional runways, which is the reason why I like the idea of having this twin turboprop. But we're heading up the coast to Los Angeles, and I'm not touching the controls at all, guys. I'm not. I will touch it a bit later, just to adjust my course a little bit, maybe do a little bit on the trim, but basically I'm flying hands off, and the plane is just stable and straight and level. And you can see how level and straight it is just by looking at the wings here, very, very close to the horizon. I am climbing slightly, but that's fine. Almost up to 10,000 feet now. When I get to 10, I will try and keep it a little bit level, more level. Might get rid of this flight yoke, it's better. I like the fact that the cockpit is completely interactive. You can get up, you can open the door, head out into the cabin and do stuff. Have a look around, get your coffee and things like that. Very interactive, beautiful. Now a lot of these little switches up here don't actually do anything, but that's not surprising. from here down, these switches all seem to be active and working. All the way down through the head panel, these switches are all working. They all have a role to play, and that tells me that the plane is actually very well modeled and detailed, and will indeed be a study level plane that we can get our teeth into, and we can actually learn and study. So that's a good sign, isn't it? Plenty to do in this cockpit. Brilliant. Okay, so we're heading, just following the coast. I think we need to turn to the left a little bit to follow this coastline up to Los Angeles. And we're just over 10,000 feet, so we're going to level out a little bit. Keep it about 10,000 feet, I think, so we don't have too far to come down. See if I can do a manual approach and a manual landing the first time in the ATR. Now, I haven't had any practice offline, off the screen. I haven't had any practice, guys. You saw my first video this morning where I'm looking at the texturing and the rendering, having to walk around the outside, looking at all the little details to see how well it's done. But this is the first time I've started the engine, got it up, and tried to fly it, okay? So if I can bring it in manually for a landing and fly it to Los Angeles, that will be just incredible. Be a real buzz for me. Okay, now I need to use the trim a little bit on my thumb here, my thumb button, just to try and keep the plane level. It's maybe just slightly coming down slowly, that's all. Let's have a look. Yep, just coming down very slowly. I don't want to come down that fast. Just bring it up. Just a twitch on the trim button. Can come down ever so slightly. That's all. Just nice and slowly. That's it. You see it? See how slowly I'm coming down? Very, very slowly. Just a twitch on the trim button, and that's it. If I'm coming down too fast, another couple of twitches on the trim button, and I'm coming up to be level again. That's it. A couple of little twitches on the button. How good is that? Keep it nice and level and steady. Whoop, someone's ringing me on the phone. Am I over speeding? Let's have a look. I'm not over speeding. I'm doing only doing 250 knots. My flaps are up. Don't know what the story is there. Don't know what the story is there. I'll bring the throttle down a twitch just in case, see if that helps. Yeah, that helps. Just bring the throttle down a little bit. Okay, it's easy to over throttle. That's what that little warning beep is. I think I'm over throttling it. So I'll just come down a little bit on the throttle and it seems to stop. I don't seem to be over speeding. It can go 300 knots, but maybe you have to take it up to 300 knots quite slowly rather than rapidly, I would say. So let's level out a little bit here. Use my trim. I was coming down a little bit too fast. That's it. Let's have a look where we are up the coast. Have a look at our map. Right, that's us there. We're heading up towards this peninsula, and then we'll curve around and we'll come in to land at Los Angeles. Nose keeps wanting to go down there a little bit. I'll bring my throttle back up again. Right, I'll see you in a little bit when I get a bit closer to land. Right, so I am descending down now. I am down to 4,000 feet, or just over 4,400 feet, and I'm coming around towards Los Angeles, if you can see it on the map here. Coming around over this peninsula, and then I'll turn right and head straight into runway 25 right. I think I have no flight plan. I'm just flying it completely by hand and manually. So it will be very interesting to see if I can actually put this girl on the ground. If I can, I'll be absolutely wrapped, and then I can go away, start doing some homework and doing some research, start working on the cold and dark startup, and start working on the FMC, learning how to do the FMC, and also start learning about this electronic flight bag. Apparently it is quite excellent. You can do a lot of things on this laptop here, so I'm looking forward to that. The first thing is just to put it down. Today is just a bit of a test day to see if to see what it flies like, to see if it handles, to see if it's buggy, to see if it does strange things. But it is so easy and smooth to fly, guys. A few little adjustments on the trim and I have it going smooth and level and anywhere I want it to go. Let's lower some gear. Check out these animations. They are very, very cool. Get the camera in the right place. And let's see if we can get this landing done. Might just go into here and turn on the replay mode. My very first landing in the ATR. Could be a disaster, but I'll record it anyway, and it could be something to be proud of, it could be something to be embarrassed about. But let's have a go. Let's continue. And we'll turn on the replay mode. Right, here we go. We're coming in, guys. Flaps are down. Flaps are down. Gear is down. Let's bring it in. What is my speed? 120 knots. I think if I leave her about 120 knots, I don't think I can be far wrong, actually. I'm lined up beautifully, so let's just see if I can get her down and do a smooth landing for my first time in. I'm not sure if the reverse throttle is going to work. I haven't tested that, but it can't be too hard to stop this bird. Doing 140 knots, quite fast, but I think once I level out,
500.
I think once I level out, that speed will bleed off okay.
200. 100.
Right, let's level out and we'll bleed off a bit of speed.
40, 30, 20, 10.
Ooh, bit bouncy. Bit bouncy. Bit bouncy. Reverse thrusters. I don't think reverse thrusters are working. I don't feel as if they are, and I can't hear anything. Let's taxi off the runway and we'll have a look at that landing, but it is not something to be proud of. It was a little bit bouncy. But it was my very first time flying this plane and my very first time landing it manually. So the good news is I did get it down okay. Doesn't that look sweet? Just beautiful, guys. Look at those big twin turbo props pounding away there. The landing gear is very short, very close to the plane. So I wouldn't imagine you have much room to flare. No, no, no. And see how high I am here? I am way too high as I come in. And that's why I had a bit of a problem. I was too high and I had quite a bit of speed to try and bleed off. A little bit windy, but also it was my fault for coming in too high, and which put me at which caused me to be over too fast. Hello, there's a plane on the runway upside down. Very interesting. Who is that? Not one of ours, I hope. See how I touched down? That was very, very bad, and I think that problem was due to overspeeding. Really was overspeeding. But I finally got it settled. Put on the brakes. Reverse thrusters, I don't think they worked. I didn't hear anything. The spoilers didn't come on, the air brakes. But she slowed down nicely. Didn't take a lot of runway. Once I got her down, she slowed down very, very nicely and was easy to bring to a stop, actually, even without the reverse thrusters and the air brakes. Right, so there we go, guys. I will take her over to the gate and park her up. But that was my very first attempt at flying the ATR 72. And I liked it. And I flew manually up the coast to San Francisco without a flight plan at all, without any correct procedures, really. But just using the trim, I could handle it. She was stable, she was smooth, and I came in for a manual landing for the first time I flew it. Which I'm pretty chuffed about. So all I got to do now is improve on those skills. I got to improve on my knowledge of the systems, do the cold and dark startup, do the flight plan, the autopilot. I can work on those over the next few days. So can I recommend this plane? Well, I think I could. For the price it cost me, 18 New Zealand dollars, like I said in the last video. You can't go out buy a cup of coffee and 2 muffins for $18. No. So it is not a big expense. It's not a big risk. If you want to buy it, see if you like it, enjoy it or not. Not a big gamble to take, guys. Worth the money? Yes, 100% I would say. I think I'll get quite a bit of fun out of this. Probably cost you $35 at least to go to the movies. That will last you 2 hours. $18 for this plane, and I'll probably get months of enjoyment out of it. So well worth the dollars in my book as far as staying home, entertainment. It's good value, and everything ran straight off the book. Default settings, default views, default throttle. Couple of things to play around with the reverse thrusters and the flaps. I mean, the flaps work fine. With the speed brakes and the reverse thrusters, a couple of things to play around with. Everything else worked straight out of the box. Very happy. Okay, please subscribe and you'll see more videos with this, and of course my favorite, which is the 737. And you'll see a lot of services, regional flights coming up for Jet in Airways, our regional airline. You're welcome to join new pilots, regardless of what level or how much experience you have. You're welcome to join us and fly along for Jet and Airways. Take care, guys. Have fun flying, and I'll see you again soon on the next video. Over and out.